Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. How are you?
Hello there.
Perhaps you're wondering why I've asked you all to the Zoom call.
This is the What's Up with the Onyx Path Panel, continuing a series that goes back into the dim mists of time of What's Up With. And today we're going to be talking about what we're up to at Onyx Path, hence the title. My name is Rich Thomas. I'm the founder and the creative director of Onyx Path. And let's do a little introduction round robin here. I will pass it on to the master of the internet and of shit posting, Impish Ian Watson.
With the first one, I didn't know if you were going to go Ian or James, but then you said the second one,
Yes,
and I was
exactly.
like,
it's Ian.
We know what I'm about here.
Yep. Lord of all things Trinity Continuum.
I'm Ian A. Watson. I'm the community manager for Onyx Path, and I'm the content lead for the Trinity Continuum and co-developer on Victorian Mage. And also with us is Eddy.
Hello, I am Eddy Webb. I am one of the in-house developers here at Onyx Path. And I also develop things such as co-developing Aberrants and Anima with Ian. And I am the owner and creator of the Realms of Puckmire. And I'm joined by Dixie.
Hi, I'm Dixie Cochran. I am an in-house developer at Onyx Path. I'm in charge of Chronicles of Darkness and Exalted. I also am the lead editor, and I host the Onyx Pathcast with Eddy and Matthew Dawkins, who is sadly not here because I think he's running Vampire right now.
He is.
And we are joined by my hero, my favorite person, who I'm about to send more updated chapters of Essence to so that he can just go crazy. James Bell, Kickstarter concierge. I don't know where he is on the screen because I'm not looking at the Twitch. So I'm just
Over there.
He's everywhere.
Left.
He's two squares to your left.
Hi, I'm James. I help out with the Kickstarters and try and keep tidal waves of emails from interrupting your lives too much.
And we're so appreciative of that, let me tell you.
He is the person to whom I have sent I sent a lovely file called Essence for Kickstarter, and then every week since then I've said, can you use this chapter instead?
Yeah.
because the fans are upset about something, so we changed it.
It's good.
Or
As long as we're like Indiana Jones, one step ahead of the boulder.
Yeah.
Don't look back though.
I'm gonna grab my
You trip
hat at
if
the
you
very
look
end.
back.
I'm just gonna, like, I have chapters 7 and 8 in my inbox right now.
Perfect.
To send on to you to be like, can you use these instead?
Yeah, and I'm the guy who says, "Throw me the idol."
That is so true.
Too bad, Dr. Jones.
Proven it once again. Anything you can find, I can take away.
Yes, we are going to make some announcements and talk stuff, but please, if you have any questions for us in the chat, just put them in the chat, preface them with the word question, preferably in all caps, and we'll all keep an eye on the chat so we can answer them at the end of the panel. So if you have questions, like, you got James Bell. Have you ever talked to James Bell before? This is new and different.
Yeah.
He has less anime eyes.
Yes.
Fewer swords. Ian's got one of his swords.
Yes.
Da-da!
Da-da-da-da-da.
Now, if you could pull it from off screen from Ian,
That would be pretty
to
amazing.
you are both in Canada, so it could be like a.
If we had coordinated that would have been the greatest thing ever.
That
But
would've
we didn't.
You know what we all do have are copies of certain books. We could probably coordinate a Zoom thing where we pass like Trinity to
Oh.
each other.
True.
Yeah.
Actually, I have Trinity on my floor because I was using it.
Oh, I like how
Oh,
it. Oh, you got the
yeah.
the enhanced cover.
I
Yeah,
did.
that's
I did. I got the enhanced cover.
Yeah, it's transparent.
I've
it's so
always
clever.
been a big fan of the fact that the Trinity covers have the perfect shade of blue to blend in with my blue screen.
Oh, you know, now I really want to do them on a plastic thing where the background's not there and you can look right through.
Right? Wouldn't that be cool?
That is so cool.
And then next year to be the What Happened to Onyx Path panel.
Yeah.
Rich had an idea anyway.
And then we stopped.
So we've got this huge warehouse full of these plastic covers that can't be shipped because they're all stuck together.
Heat wave melted them. Perfect.
No. We try to restrict the full crazed design thing. Everybody who picked up the original Trinity Aeon book made of plastic with the ring binder
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Familiar with some of the places we could go, but don't right now. What is up with Onyx Path? Biggest thing we have going right now is something that's Dixie and James have both mentioned, which is the Exalted Essence Kickstarter, which is 11 days to go.
Yeah, it
Something
ends
like
in
that.
2 Thursdays. I don't know. I have my
12 days.
Thursday and then
daily
Thursday.
countdown of
Right,
things
'cause-
that
Yeah, we're not at 2:00 yet, so it would still be.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, you mean your daily countdown that we blew through in the first day? Your like weekly plan?
You mean where I was putting up stretch goals and it was still like the test graphics of maybe we could try this? It's like we don't have time. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are currently 764% funded according to
Yeah.
KickTrack.
It's pretty amazing.
We've got over 3,100 backers. We blew past that yesterday, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Every time I think we're slowing down, we still make a stretch goal, and I'm like, okay, this is our life now.
Yes, this is supposed to be the quiet weeks. Like
Yeah.
these are the 2 quiet weeks in the
Oh
middle.
no, you're dropping some charms tomorrow, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Not gonna be quiet.
This is Charms Week.
Yeah, starting tomorrow.
Yes, it's going to be great because tomorrow we've got kind of the intro and all of the Universal Charms going up.
Did y'all hear that, Exalted fans? All the
So,
Universal Charms.
all
are
the
going
Universal
up tomorrow.
Charms, and then on how does calendars work on Tuesday,
Monday,
and
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thursday? Yeah, I don't know anymore. On Tuesday we start the Exalted Specific Charms, so that'll be Tuesday and Thursday.
And then on Saturday, you're gonna drop the martial arts and
sorcery,
necromancy. Very
Yes.
cool.
And
That's
it's
exciting.
funny because some backers were like, "Oh, it sucks that you're breaking all the charms out into these little sections," but each of those sections
It's a
is
chapter.
as big as the previous stuff we've done. Like 2 chapters of normal is
Yeah.
1/4 charms.
Well, I mean, if you look
That's
at
metric.
like Lunars,
yeah.
I think had 85,000 worth of
Kilograms.
charms, and that's all. That's over half of Essence, like in and of itself. So yeah, charms is the biggest chapter by a lot. And as you can see, we could have added more because we're working on the companion where we're like, more charms. I guess you want more charms, and everybody's like, give us charms. And I'm like, okay, we're trying to give
We
you
love the
charms.
charm so much.
Are they lucky?
They are lucky.
Oh,
But like,
You do a
but
badass.
yeah, I know that some
Please
folks
don't.
have been like, "Oh my god, I only have 5 charms to character creation." It's like, well, you could have more. I don't care. Homebrew it. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Start at a higher essence level. I don't care. Or don't. Just have 6 charms, 7 charms. I don't know.
I think
Whatever.
the amazing thing is that the charms chapter is as big as it is, and it is still so much smaller.
Well, yeah, the
chapter.
average word
It's-
count on a charm is like gone down to like 100 words.
Yeah,
instead
they've
of,
really
like,
been winnowed
600.
down to the essence of what the
Ah.
charm needs to have.
It's almost like I named this book on purpose.
Weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
But no, James has been fabulous dropping everything for us. I know that all of the people in the Exalted Discord are excited. James, I'm not sure if you know this because you're not in the fan Discord, but
Yes.
every time that we hit a stretch goal number, they start chanting your name
Oh, awesome.
because they are waiting. They are trying to summon you
It
to
works.
give us
Well,
the next stretch goals. And
I try
they-
and keep ahead, but
literally within 10 seconds of you posting an update, it's been put in the Discord. Like everybody's like, new charms, new stretch goals.
it's not that there's a lot of driving. We just came out of our latest stay at home, but if I'm on the road and there's a stretch goal coming up, it does get dangerous because I do have to race home pretty quick.
Please don't endanger yourself. They can wait.
Right.
Whatever the Kickstarter needs will be done.
Please.
Yeah,
don't
body on the
endanger-
road with my phone typing.
I admire your work ethic, James. Thank you.
Please let my kids know that I update the website.
Right.
The Mounties don't care. They're like, we don't know. Hey, you had to pull over, eh?
Yeah, no, it's very funny. Like I often find out there have been updates from the Discord, not from my phone or anything
Right.
else.
That's how
Like,
fast they are.
literally the Discord. It's like,
Well,
it's like new update, and I'm like, oh really? Cool. I go look at it, and then I go open it, and it's like, you have 29 minutes left to edit this update, and I'm
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so it's been less than a minute. And
The joy of that, I don't know if everybody, but when you post something to Kickstarter, when you post an update to Kickstarter, you have 30 minutes to fix it. And usually what happens is I post it and then it's great. And then at 31 minutes, somebody will go, I can't believe you spelled this wrong. And it's like, 31. No.
So you hear that? If you want to get James to correct
Yeah.
it, you got to get it in before 30 minutes.
We'll have a Google sheet and I'll say, if there are any errors, please put them on this Google sheet. And then Dixie can freak out over them later.
Well, before we had Backer Kit and all the times that people would come on 1 minute after the Kickstarter was over and go, oh no, I missed it.
Yeah.
How could I miss it? Why didn't you not tell us that this thing was going?
I love it when that happens. It's like you can set up a reminder, you can put it on your calendar, and there will always be somebody the day after the Kickstarter being like,
always.
I would have given you $5,000. And it's like, well, you can just give that to me if you want, but you know.
It's
I
always
literally had a person do it 1 minute after the Kickstarter was over. I was going, woo, it's done. And a message came up like, what?
I meant to.
That always blows my mind because, you know, we're posting it everywhere. We're posting it on our website and all our social media, on our newsletter, email, and people say, hey, I didn't know this was running. Like, well, I know you follow us on social media, so how did you miss this?
You know, it's density of what's going on in your life. And now that's a great thing with Backer Kit now. Not long after any Kickstarter is done, anywhere from a week to a couple of weeks, James will have the Backer Kit set up, and then yes, you can get, you know,
pre-order your book and be in there, for when it comes out. And if you pre-order on Backer Kit, you get the book when it comes out to backers the Kickstarter. So you will get the like if you miss the campaign, well, you miss a lot of good stuff. But if you pre-order in Backer Kit, you will still get the backer PDF when that comes out. So anybody who pre-ordered Aberrant got that early. Anybody who pre-ordered Aberrant is enjoying reading their book right now while it just comes out for sale last Wednesday.
I got it like
last Wednesday,
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's why on the when I do my updates on how you doing finger things.
I was pointing at Ian.
Well, Ian's holding it.
Has the Aberrant.
But Ian, you don't have the special edition because if I have the Aberrant, it's the same thing.
Not allowed in Canada. They stop it at
my Aberrant has a phasing power.
Yeah. They don't go for transparency in Canada. What the hell?
No, only no money.
Reminds them of ice, and that's just bad.
But at the end of every update, you know, I tell the backers, or I urge the backers to make sure you share it. And you look at 3,100 backers and you're like, who else are we going to tell? But to your point, there are people that don't know. There are people that have, you know, lives going on and can't pay attention to 700 social media posts or see it. And so just tell everybody.
Everyone you know.
Just go out in the middle of the
street
your grandma and just scream all about this.
Yeah, because it is the kind of thing where you, at the end, there are times when you will miss a stretch goal by that much.
I know, I hate that.
And then we'll open Backer Kit, and that many people will pre-order in half an hour, and you're like, oh, if you guys had just been here, we would have. Bloop. But that's the fun. That's the fun of the program.
Yep. If it was a totally different setup, you know, we'd be talking about other things, but this is what we got. So to shift away from the Exalted Essence thing, it is definitely something that's on our mind, but we do have other things we want to talk about today. We have some stuff that we talked about at the opening ceremonies that I wanted to kind of touch base on because there's a bit of announcing things that go on. First of all, the brochure for this, I guess it was 2021. I think we don't actually know how we're going to handle the brochure after this because it may just be a living sort of change the date and update it, and it'll just keep growing because it's electronic, so we can do that. But it's available. The link is somewhere around.
It's in the Twitch.
It's in the Twitch.
Posted it.
Twitch posted. So that's available now, and it's got some clues and some things about new projects and stuff. But we did actually announce both Trinity Continuum Aether, which is a project that Mr. Matthew Dawkins is working on, and it is a Victorian era for Trinity Continuum, and it kind of covers what you would expect from that, but in the Trinity Continuum way. And we haven't really given a lot of information. People are asking a lot of things. Ian has been very circumspect about what has been revealed, but you know, we will definitely tell you more as work continues on that. It's really, I don't want to say just getting started because we've been looking at it for a while, but the actual writing work has not been going on for all that long. So we will let you know when we know more. Another one we announced was the fact that when we announced previously, I think on one of these panels, that there was they came from Classified and coming out, and that we were working on that in fact it's the name of it is they came from
Classified.
That's it. Title. And it is 60s and 70s spy movies, everything from James Bond and the Avengers television show to you could go all the way to the Bourne Identity and Smiley's People and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of range there, but Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Prisoner, all that all fits in there.
Also, Austin Powers, Get Smart,
Get Smart for sure. Austin Powers is a great inspiration.
The original Casino Royale film.
7 James Bonds at Casino Royale.
I watched that video Eddy posted on that after the Monday meeting, and I was like, what is this bullshit
of
a movie? Like, it has like 8 directors.
It is such a mess.
It is a car wreck of a film.
Orson Welles in one of his last appearances. I mean, just nuts. He played Le Chiffre. Didn't even bleed from one eye. So
it was very weird.
So that's coming. And I think did we announce anything yesterday that I didn't cover?
I think it's all the brand new announcements. Yeah,
the two major new things.
And then we talked about a lot of the things that we'll probably start talking about now. So who wants to jump in and say some more stuff?
I'll start talking.
Okay, Eddy.
let's talk about Squeaks and Anima.
Yeah. So since we have James here, it's coming up soon on Kickstarter after Exalted Essence stops tearing up the Kickstarter charts. We are going to be doing the next Pugmire Kickstarter, which is Squeaks and Deep, which is our support book.
No one will have any money left after Exalted is done.
Right? Yeah.
No Pugmire fans back.
No. It's the stretch goal. The default amount will be $5. We beat $5, and we funded it because we know money. But no, Squeaks in the Deep is our adventure path for both Pugmire and Monarchies of Mao, but it is also featuring rats and mice. So you can play a rat or a mouse character, and instead of magic, they have access to psionics.
Yeah.
So they are able to use the powers of the minds in their adventures.
Right.
And it's kind of our take on the Mega Dungeon. So it's not 3 disparate adventures like Pirates Pugmire, which are kind of connected, but rather it's one kind of slightly larger adventure that has both a Pugmire and a Monarchies of Mao starting point. And then there's lots of interesting bits that you can connect together in whatever way makes sense. Because one thing, actually having run Mega Dungeon, classic Mega Dungeon recently, there's lots of just empty space that's not interesting. So we kind of just went ahead and actually specifically like, okay, here's some cool tunnel encounters, and then here's a cool cave encounter, and then there's more tunnels, and maybe there's a village. And you kind of just stitch those pieces together in whatever way makes sense. You're going to put your own stuff in there, however it makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's a different way to kind of approach the same territory, the same vibe.
Right.
So that is coming up soon on Kickstarter.
Yeah, very classic adventure, and of course, you can bring your dogs and your cats down and complete the triumvirate of classic cartoons of cats, dogs, and mice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. It's the Sylvester touches every aspect of the game.
And we've got
Sylvester,
birds.
keep
If
your
you want
birds.
There's
3D.
birds and yep.
Mhm.
I don't think there are a lot of lizards in there.
Turtles.
There are turtles though.
Teenage Mutant ones specifically.
Oh yeah. For the record, anybody that was watching, I was not laughing at Eddy or anything specifically. I was laughing because I think you almost said Mats and rice, and I pictured a book of people named Matt just eating rice, and that was the whole book. It's like oh, there's Matt Damon eating some rice. There's Matt Comer eating some rice. Like
there are enough Matts in the industry. We could probably give each of them their own spot.
Forbeck eats rice.
Mats and rice.
Hey, I really like my rice here.
So my ADHD brain just ran with that, and I was like Mats and rice. This is great. And then I was laughing about it, and then I was like, I'm just laughing for no reason that anybody can tell. Like no one's being funny.
James, we're going to change Kickstarter graphics.
Just full sideways laughing.
That's I think that was they came from the kitchen.
There we go.
That was that.
Mats and rice.
Mats and rice.
So yeah, and also in just a few hours, Eddy. Playtesting
Four
the
and a
first
half.
time in public, Anima.
Trinity Continuum Anima, which is going to be our cyberpunk / lit RPG take in the Trinity Continuum. And it is the first time we've done a new setting outside of the Trinity Core rulebook.
Mm-hmm.
So it's after the Aberrant War, so it's set in 2084. And one of the biggest entertainment venues for this post-war society is this massive MMO called Terra Surge. So you're able to kind of switch between these kind of not traditional, but a very strong literary cyberpunk world, and then also a lit RPG world where you're not only playing in a fantasy world, but also you as the characters recognize the video game tropes and structures and are able to talk about them and connect them, which is the lit RPG specific side of it. So you can say things like, oh, I'm down 3 hit points, or can you buff this guy? And those all be like specifically part of the game.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that a couple people have had trouble like wrapping their head around, because they seem to think that once you're in the MMO, you don't get to be you anymore.
Mhm.
But we do have like sidebars that address that. Like when you're in the MMO, no, you can't use your close combat skill probably, because that wouldn't make any sense. That's not how characters work in MMOs. But you can use your brain.
Right.
And you can talk to each other as normal, or you can be in an RP guild. So if you want to RP in the MMO, you can do that. You can play like it's a medieval fantasy kind of world. Or if you don't, and you just want to be like, get wrecked, scrubs, you can also do that. Which is
I'm just going to yell Leroy Jenkins over and over again.
Yeah, no, I am playing in this one, and then I have an upcoming longer playtest with Eddy and some folks, and I'm definitely like, my character for today is more of like a cool gamer, and my character for the other one I think is going to be that like slightly toxic raider. Because it'll be a fun like archetype.
By the way, noob.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And there's actually, griefing is something you could do in this game, and we have rules for that. So
yes.
I mean,
that was fun to write, was like the like griefing part, because like you and I were talking. So I wrote the MMO side of things, most of it. There's one thing I did not write because we forgot about it, but then it got written later. But like we were talking, and it's like okay, what things are in an MMO that like need to be in here? And it's like there's gonna be griefers, there's gonna be people that gank other people if they're in PvP by accident. There's gonna be raid guilds. There's gonna be people that just want to poke around and look at lore. Like I've met every kind of gamer at this point, because I've been playing MMOs since 2003. And so like I've met them all. I know them all. I am familiar with all the tropes. What I liked about writing it in this is because it is VR and it is implanted into your brain, because glass. It can take you out of situations that are making you actively uncomfortable, which is something that I would love in an actual MMO.
Yeah.
It's if like someone shows up and just starts being weird in your PMs. It's like okay, you're not talking to them anymore. You are gone now. You can have 25 alts on a defenestrate. Sorry, somebody asked in the chat. You can have as many alts as you want. You can build as many animas as you want to. You'll probably have a couple of mains. But once again, if you are like me, like I have every single race and class leveled up to at least 70 in World of Warcraft, and quite a few of them at 90. And I have not played recently, so I know it's a different level structure now. But when I quit playing 4 or 5 years ago, I had gotten a lot of things to max level, so I totally understand 25 alts.
Right. But Dixie mentioned glass.
So
That's the other
much
kind of
time.
big conceit of this game is that everyone who's lives in the city of the game has a brain implant, which is called glass, and allows them to. It has lots of beneficial uses, but one of them is it allows you to actually alter your perceptions, so that you can, if you want to see things like there's a blank wall in the city, but then like people may put like digital graffiti on that wall, and you get to filter through which topics or tags you want to see on that. And so you'll see one thing on that wall and somebody else will see something completely differently. But then of course, when you go into Terra Surge, it's a complete sensory takeover. And so you have everything.
You're in that world, right?
Yeah, you smell it, you see it, you could feel it. Obviously there's safety measures. So like, if you get hurt, you won't actually, cause significant pain enough to kill you or anything.
Also, so you don't like starve, because as far as I'm concerned, you can eat in Terra Surge, but it doesn't really do anything. So it's like your like glass will turn it off eventually and be like, you have to eat real food.
Right.
Yes. But it does really cool things too. Like if you like me are a medication taker, your glass can, instead of you having to like I take Prozac every day, and instead of that, your glass can be like, your molecules are wrong.
Yep.
Which can also be terrifying in a fascist society when they're all like, no, you just want to calm down, right? You just want to comply. Like compliance. So there's a lot of really insidious like uses for it that maybe won't be obvious right at the outset, because like it sounds really, really cool until you start thinking about all the ways that people could misuse it. And that's part of where the game's conflict comes from. Like you can have conflicts within Terra Surge and you have things that are going on there, but you also have the conflicts where you're dealing with the Cascadian government and the fact that they're fascist.
Right.
Yeah. There's a reason these things were put together the way they were, which was not simply an arbitrary decision on our part.
Yeah.
As much as it might seem that way.
Well, yeah, this is the first Trinity game that is set in a specific area.
Right.
Whereas all the other ones are very like global, or they're space wide or whatever, and you can set a Trinity game anywhere you want. This one's like, no, it's you're in Cascade. That is where you live. Whether you're a citizen or not, that is where you are. If you're playing this game for the most part. Now, granted, you can, of course, mess with the setting. You could put Cascade in a different part of the world. No one's going to stop you. But as far as Trinity Universe goes, this does have like a specific setting, which is very, very cool.
Just so you know, James, Merciful Mike Cheney's already buying art for the Kickstarter for this.
Yay!
It's coming.
I messed up because I said that I thought that Trinity Continuum Animal. I thought it was a Pugmire crossover.
Nice.
Yeah, well, Neil said he's been calling it Banama. So
Neil says that about everything. He is constantly trying to convince me that it's not lunars, it's loomers. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Loomer exalted.
Like this guy?
Should
Looming over?
Put that in the feedback form.
There you go.
You spelled loomers wrong again.
Neil puts that in every day.
Every day.
I'm gonna ban him from the forum if he does that. But yeah, no, I am super, super, super excited.
Yeah, and we're not going to answer a ton of questions about it. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we're not going to answer a ton of questions here. You'll see a lot of that in the playtest later on today.
Yeah, there's also a Trinity Continuum panel starting at 4:30, half an hour before the Anima stream. So everyone who's on that panel is going to miss the beginning of the actual play.
We're not going to do anything for the first half hour, don't worry.
I just wanted to point out that as part of the sort of the overarching Trinity Continuum timeline, if you look at Aeon, part of its history mentions that in 2086, which is 2 years after Anima, there's the Shanghai Accords, which have outlawed artificial intelligence and hard-tech neural implants.
This is why.
Anima explores a lot of why that happens.
Sweet. Okay. We're about halfway through.
Yes. So now we're awkwardly waiting for something to happen.
Everyone stare until it happens.
Shall I look at some of the questions that were in chat?
Yeah, we have a couple questions going on already. Someone did ask if we were going to get rid of the term racist, and if I said that, I'm very sorry. We do call them peoples in Terra Surge.
Yeah.
So if any of us said the wrong thing, I am very sorry.
Dixie, as Chronicles of Darkness boss, can you tell me more about the Hedge, the Changeling book?
I can't tell you much about it, but it's definitely about the Hedge. and I'm looking forward to it. The one that we're pushing forward on right now is Kith and Ken, and then we have a few more things going on for that. But I think the game that's going to start soon for Changeling the Lost will preview some new kits, which is very, very exciting.
Yes. That's another time. Dark Eras.
Yeah,
right?
the Arthurian Lost.
The Arthurian, yeah.
Which I think they're also like that era actually has a vampire crossover as well, because they're all crossovers, and I think they're actually bringing in a vampire like friend, so that's exciting.
We're gonna say goodbye to James now.
Bye, James.
James, Dexter, go fix that.
Okay.
The essence is crashing. Run.
We're at 31 backers, so
Oh, nice.
that makes me happy. I love that.
Awesome.
But see everybody in the Kickstarter.
All right, goodbye.
Awesome.
Thanks,
All
James.
right.
Bye. We're switching things around.
My
It's
hero,
gonna look weird
James.
for a second.
All right. So, folks, one of the things that's happening with, obviously, what we announced a few months ago was that we're working with a TV development house company, Jenkins and Tate, and they are preparing to get the materials together to pitch a Scion TV show. And we are fortunate today that we can be joined by Brian Jenkins, the chief creative feller, who's currently busy working on some Scion scripts and Bibles and all that sort of stuff they need for TV. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, how you doing? Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's been really busy. I've literally been deep in Scion for the last couple of months, really, and you know, it's I love it. It's one of my favourite games. I can't really see it up there, but it's definitely one of my favourites. And I think the nice thing about it is that I've really enjoyed mostly this week, because all the hard part, which we've had to do, me and Rich, with the negotiation stuff towards it, that was the tough part. But the nice stuff now,
Yes.
yeah, but the nice stuff now is the development side of it, and I've had a really good week of writing, so
Feeling good.
yeah, so I'm very, very happy. So I'm up to episode 5 at the moment, and just cleaning it up, and it's mid-season in the story, so quite excited.
Awesome.
I've had a lot of good feedback from it, so that's got to be good.
That's excellent. Yep. So, Brian and his crew have been doing TV work for a really long time, and have a lot of connections. And one of their connections was able to create.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, you got it there, haven't you?
I do. I just want to make sure. There we go. There we go. This is obviously.
It's so cool.
If I do that, like, if I do that, what should I do?
Pass it to me.
I go like this.
Yeah.
But then we get one. I want one.
So this is a prototype. It is. I think it's resin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So they might use something like this, like for a distance shot or something. But when they actually do if the character is going to use this thing, they would use a one that worked. One that was made of metal and had.
I mean, this is like a prototype, because obviously it's an iconic item in the game. It's like Giant's Bane is one of those beautiful things, which is sort of suggests that a certain character might be in the TV show.
I wonder who it might be.
Yeah.
Do you think there might be an Eric Donner somewhere?
Yeah, there might be an Eric Donner.
Or did someone just steal his gun?
Well, there's a lot of things that could happen, right?
Yeah, but it's nice. I mean, the thing is, we wanted to see, because if you make it too big, it becomes too comical. If you make it too small, then it just isn't Giant's Bane. So we were looking at ways that we could start developing some of the props, so we could start researching and stuff, and it had to fit in with the style of the artwork as well. So we've tried to keep as much as possible relevant to the game, where you see a lot of shows sort of like veer off from the book too much, or they veer off from the idea, the core concept of what the game is, or whatever the show they're producing is based on intellectual property. But it's because I love Scion, it's nice to be able to go, oh, actually, I could put this in it, And the thing that's the hardest part is being told off for putting too much in. You know,
pare it down.
So it's like you write big first of all, and then you sort of just tone it down. And it's lucky because I've been a producer for quite a while. You know where to spend the money and where the money should go. And normally you have a director that will want, you know, helicopters, gunships, cars and stuff. You sort of have to go, but you can have this, but it means you can't have these things. So we have to work out where we want to put, you know, what characters we want to introduce and what creatures we want to put into it and stuff like that. And I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to Scion. I like everything, you know, so it's really hard. Like I think I was in a meeting with Rich the other week, and I was just saying, I've been writing all day, and here's my research books. It was all the Scion books I've been going through just for that one episode, looking at bits and pieces, going, well, actually, we should think about this and bring this into it. But I'm really happy with the way it's going, so that's the most exciting.
I'm definitely picturing Brian like watching every time that we put out a new Scion book, being like, "Quit adding pantheons! Like you add like 5 or 8 pantheons every book. There's so many."
I know, but and I was saying this earlier, which is every time I like to collect games, and mostly role play games. I have a lot of role play games. I mean, that's just some of them up on the shelf. All the others are in the other room up on other shelves. Not as good as Rich's, but you know, they're all over the place. But it's every time a new book comes out, I'm sort of like, I better buy that, you know, add it to the collection, and it never gets. Not a lot of them get read, and it's only like the games that we play at the time. Like so, at the moment we're playing Scion on a Sunday, and then another game on a Monday, and we're like, I better buy that book. I better get this one, and I've got, you know, and I've got PDFs of them, but it's nice having the actual physical, you know, book. Yep. And every time a Kickstarter comes out as well, I've been told off to stop jumping into Kickstarters. And I've just done the
by someone close to you.
yeah. And I've just got the beautiful jumped on the Kickstarter for Exalted. That's one of my other favorite as well. So it's like, you know, it's stop making books.
No, I like making money.
Half of the messages I get from Brian are a shot of a new book that he's picked up, either something retro or from a Kickstarter. I just came in the mail. Look!
Yeah, I think I did that to Ian the other day. I sent him a picture saying thanks so much because he'd signed the inside from the Kickstarter, and I was like, thanks for that. That's brilliant. And I opened it up, and what I do first of all is just go through the pictures, just to look at the artwork and stuff, because the artwork's always fantastic.
Well,
yeah, no, I love it. I absolutely love it. And then it's right now I should read this, but then it went on the shelf because I had loads of work to do, so I couldn't start reading it. I can't read it until I've got season 1 completed.
There you go.
And yeah, so that's a bit of a task.
It's an incentive program.
Yeah, but it's not. I think it's good. I mean, I get to the stage where, I mean, this is. I think I've said this before to you, but a lot of these games are huge influences as I was growing up into the kind of field of, you know, the area of what I wanted to go into, what sort of work I wanted to do. So all those sort of like games I used to play as a kid, well, I say a teenager, you know, right. Like, well, I started off as traditionally as 12 years old playing role play games, and then suddenly my eyes were opened up to loads of other games as I got older. So I've sort of just collected as I've gone along, and the magazines I've collected, you know, so I've hoarded a lot of games. And the hard part was when I went to university, stopping my mum from throwing them away. You know, it was like, don't throw that box away.
No!
But
Excellent.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay, so as well as any questions for us, if anybody has any questions for Brian, please, you know, throw them into the chat, and we'll take a look at them. Is there anything anybody else wants to push or talk about, or things that we're up to? I mean, obviously we're in the middle of the con. We're really glad people have been attending. It's been some fantastic attendance. I don't know if did we get our goal with Bodana's charity yet, but
let me check.
But I know people are asking about, like I said, direct donations, which wouldn't show on there. So we'll see.
We're a little under halfway there.
Okay.
So we're 446 of our 1,000 hour goal. So if you've been sitting on the fence about joining up with the game, definitely, half the proceeds of all the game tickets go to the Madonna Group, which is a fantastic charity. So please, if you've been sitting on it, now's the time to kind of pull the trigger and Giant Spain.
Oh!
Get in this game.
Well, this one.
Yeah,
Or
that
the
trigger.
other
Pull
one.
that trigger right there. That exact trigger.
Every time someone joins up with a game and therefore donates to Badana, we will metaphorically fire Giant Spain.
I just want to see how big. Like I have the world's tiniest hands, and I really want to see that again in real life because I'm like, it's got to be even bigger than it looks. It's such a giant gun, and y'all are both, dudes. And I'm like, I have got little tiny baby hands. I want to see what it looks like in my hands.
These shovels, everything looks tiny. So even a large
small weapon here. You may be one of the giants. Watch out.
There you go, Sam.
Some people did ask questions about the Scion TV show while we have Brian here.
Yeah.
So of course, somebody asked why you picked it. I think the answer is pretty obvious, just because you're a big freaking fan. Is that right?
And I mean, one, I am a big fan of the game, and secondly, it's one of those games that transfers well into. Look, I was sticking words together there. It shows you how knackered I am today. It transfers really well into TV because it's modern day. It's the location. It's easy to arrange places to film in for it. It's not massive set builds or like creating a brand new world. It's the world that we live in, so it works really, really well.
Yeah, it's not the MCU. Like you're not having to do everything on green screen.
You can choose which elements that are more fantastic you put into it based on what as you were saying, the most magic, the most bang for your buck that you can have of now we're going to really show you something wild.
Yeah. Someone else asked how we would differentiate it from the recent American Gods, and I will say first of all that that's a very different concept than Scion, even though it is about this is my baby because I also love Scion. It's a very different concept, and also I think it's quite a bit darker than Scion would be. Not that it won't go to dark places because I have no idea because no one's seen a script yet. But I think the American Gods probably has a much darker tone.
My fault. I mean, we've talked. I mean, these are our major discussions that we've had about Scion, American Gods, Percy Jackson. The thing is that each has an element to it that is a style to that one product. And when I use products, I mean IP, intellectual property and stuff. So, American Gods is very sort of like gods wandering around, mixing with you in bars and drinking and stuff like that. It has a very sort of graphic-y novel feel about it, obviously. But then if you look at Percy Jackson, it's all about just the hero stuff, and it's very sort of like how can I explain it? It's sort of like very sort of like limited to only the Greek gods, so to speak. It doesn't really sort of look at everything else. And I think the nice thing with Scion is you can be really clever the way you put Scion together as a TV show by looking at what elements do you want to reveal, what can the audience see as opposed to what characters can see or mundane sort of like everyday people see around them. And the hard part is obviously because, I've been a fan since first edition, and it's a little bit different, to second edition in the sense that, do we have temples in every corner? Do we have, shrines within the home in that sort of sense? Or do we go for it's there, but it's not sort of flamboyant or, in your face sort of thing. It's just part of everyday life. And I think what you do is, I think you create it really well in the book, which is it's our timeline, but these things also exist. So throughout history they've always been there. I mean, when you go back to the companion, I think it's in the companion book where you talk about World War II and characters in World War II. There's a beautiful picture in there that I really love, which is the Japanese Zeros with like a hero in front flying sort of thing, and there's lightning. Obviously it's based on Big Trouble in Little China, the way that looks, the big straw hat and the cloaks and stuff, and again, fantastic resource there, but it's just a beautiful image, and it sort of makes you think that you wish that this sort of stuff actually existed because who doesn't want to be a scion? Son and daughter of a god or a titan. It's
Yep.
it's just the adventure. I'm used to running around woods as a kid, with sticks and stuff, like slaying monsters, make believe monsters and stuff like that. And my parents would still tell you I'm a giant kid, doing all those sort of things.
You don't know what you're going to see when you go around as a kid. You really don't know what you're going to see when you go around that tree. We still have that ability to have that wonder, and I think that's one of the things that Scion brings back is no one knows what's around the corner for that. The other thing about that you're talking about, Brian, I think was really important for the adapting from an RPG is different than the adapting from comic books or a novel or anything like that, because we create a world, but we also tell you change it, do what you need to do. And our philosophy working with Jenkins and Tate has been make this really cool. We do have some parameters. We do have some things, all myths are true and all that sort of stuff. But don't worry about matching it to the edition per se. We'll talk about that when we get there and to say, is this too far the other way or whatever? But if you look at the Scion book that has all the talk about the dials and levers and how you can at your table tweak a game to the way your people want to play it. So high myth or real down, real masquerade style. All that is possible, and we want Brian and his crew to be able to kind of do the same thing. Say this TV show is our table, and so we want to be able to bring it out. At the same time, we want to not lose any of the stuff that really makes Scion so magical. So haven't had a problem with you losing the magic yet. So I think we're good.
Someone mentioned this in the chat, but I think it's worth kind of talking about too, because I've seen this come up a lot, and I think it's worth kind of sticking a pin in this.
Did you see me roll my eyes? Is that why you're bringing this?
Well, that too. Everyone's going, oh, we'll be like Kindred the Embraced. And it's like, we've lived through Kindred the Embraced.
God, we don't talk about that ever.
Stop talking about it. First of all, it wasn't a terrible show. It would have only gotten better if that person died. Second of all, it's from 1996. It's also not going to be like Seinfeld.
Television has completely changed since then.
I know, it was 25 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
What's up with all these Scions?
I gotta say, I've been through so much of that TV stuff, and to me, it's like because over here, like when we were in England,
you didn't get it. You didn't get Kindred.
No, we didn't get it, and we had to wait till somebody sort of like shipped it over on a DVD, and then you had to find someone that had a DVD player that could play American DVDs.
Yep, I remember those.
And it was. And so, like, we got the DVD, and we were like, "Oh my god, this is it! We're gonna get to watch it." And then we all sat there and watched it, and went, "What's going on?" And it was like it was completely different because obviously when Vampire the Masquerade came out for us, I won't go on about it. It was a huge game changer for us, and I think this is why I like these kind of games like Scion, Trinity, and Aberrant and stuff like that, because it's not just adventure, go out, kill the beast, get the gold, and all that sort of thing. There's the level of humanity to it where you're sort of like, you're thrown into situations where you have to question stuff and you have to deal with modern issues and stuff like that. And I think when we watched that TV show, when we finally got hold of it, we were like, what? This is just Dynasty with vampires, This is like, what's
it was
going
an
on
Aaron
here?
Spelling show. I mean, so the thing people don't understand is that like White Wolf had no control over what these people put on the air. The fact that so much of it managed to get on that was even close to the Masquerade experience was a large part due to Mark Ryan Hagan being over there. And I mean, he was kicked off the set because he was complaining about how they were handling something that it wasn't true to the thing, and they finally got just get him out of here.
But like let's just put one final pin in this. When Kindred the Embrace premiered, it was on my birthday, my 11th birthday.
Yeah.
I had braces.
That's
I
right.
had long dark hair. I weighed 92 pounds and was about 4'9". Things change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
not the
36.
4'9" part.
I'm 5'1" now. I had a growth spurt in high school.
I don't even know what it's like to be 5'1".
The point is,
He passed that when he was 4.
the point is that a lot of things can change in 20. Like I hadn't heard of Vampire the Masquerade in 1996, and now I work for Onyx Path.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
things change. It's okay. Everyone's losing their mind right now about me talking about that. I am 5'1" now, Mangani. You stop it. Thank you, Erica. Erica gets me.
And it's not like the same company is making the same mistakes again or anything stupid like that.
Yeah.
These are completely different companies. There was
Yeah.
White Wolf and Aaron
And
Spelling.
more specifically,
now there's
Brian is a
Onyx
fan.
Path and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Spelling was playing Vampire the Masquerade with his
No.
buddies in the basement at night in 1994.
No, and the best place I've ever played that game was downstairs in a restaurant in the kitchen area, like in between like shifts and stuff. When I was younger, and it was it was free food, and we were playing Vampire while cooking,
Wow.
and stuff. So, but I think it's a product of its era, and especially that show, like we were saying earlier, it was 25 years ago. It was. If you look at what happened with like Buffy and Angel, and the shows tended to change format and style and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at the TV shows that are out today, there's some great shows and then there's some really bad shows. But it's it's what you're into, and I think it's what you enjoy playing or what you enjoy watching that makes it good for you. Because one of my little I've forgotten the word. I really want to use this little excited moments in life is watching terrible paranormal shows on television or on YouTube.
Yep.
And that's my little thing where I just sit there and wet myself laughing and shout at the TV screen and off. Where there's obviously fake, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it because it brings joy to my life, and I think it's like what you're into. So I can forgive Aaron Spelling for Vampire the Masquerade, but I won't talk about it.
Yeah. there are a lot of people
Big
too
you.
in chat asking really specific questions about the show. We don't know yet.
Yeah, sure, ask.
No, it's stuff we don't know yet. They're all like, which Pantheon? How many episodes will it be? Like, I don't know.
We're looking at 10. I can tell you what we're looking at the moment. So we're looking at 10 episodes.
Okay.
On the pretext that we might be able to do 12. Pantheon, it's all set in England. So the first series is set in the UK. We've got how can I tell you that? I don't want to give too much away.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
No, but I will say this: episode 5 is by far my favourite episode. But I said that about 4.
Everyone.
And I also said that about 3. But 5 is the one that I've gone. What do you think? And they've gone. Oh, that's harsh. That's amazing. I love it. So I haven't sent it yet, but I will send it because I just want to. I've written the entire season, but I'm just sort of going through and cleaning it up and changing stuff. So Pantheon, so far we've got
Norse, definitely.
The Celt Pantheons are in there
The
because
Tuatha Dé.
Yeah. We've also put in I say me, really. There's a giant in it.
We got a
Got
giant.
to have a giant. There's what else can I tell you? I can tell you the lead character's name if that helps, but it may change. But
Exactly.
But I kind of like it, and I'm pushing it. But it's the bad. Well, he's not a bad guy, but he is the bad guy, Jonathan Crane. So he's the bad guy, and we're keeping him. What else? Egyptian pantheons are in there so far. Titans are represented. There's I don't know how to pronounce this, and I struggle on a daily basis because when I'm trying to explain it to my other 2 business partners, they're like, "What now?" But it's the South American Titans, and it's the goddess that was chopped up into all these parts and stuff. I can't remember her name. But she's one of the Titan pantheon. but she's represented in it as well. And the lovely thing about England, especially London, is it's a melting pot of many different cultures. So there's all these fantastic sort of religion and faiths and different people from different countries to sort of research and look into. So
so many cultures, so many myths.
Yeah, so it's all there for you. Throw some questions at me, and I'll be able to say yes or no.
How many episodes? Yes.
We're pretty sure there'll be an episode at least.
At least.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people asking if we're going back to the 1E Masquerade and Scion kind of thing, or if it's the 2E all myths are true. Everyone kind of knows.
Combination, I'd say.
It is a bit of a combination. So I've gone back to sort of 1, but using stuff from 2. Because I kind of like, one of the hard parts about this is if I have like creatures running around like that we can all see, and then I've got to have creatures in everything that I do. Right. So what I want to do is work out how we can spend the money in the right place and what we need to focus on and stuff like that. Now, if I add the mythical to every single episode or everything you see, then you can imagine the cost of that show is going to go straight up. But I've got to be able to go, okay, so we have to look at ways that we can go, be true to the books and keep that atmosphere that the books have, but how can we introduce an element to it that keeps that faith alive? You know, so by having like shrines in people's homes, because I always looked at this like, if you look at the Roman and Greek and like India and places like that, people have personal shrines within their homes. And so, you know, you would look at, especially now in India, you have your own shrines within the home, and some of the other faiths as well that we still represent today still have personal shrines in some sort of way, whether it be a crucifix, whether it be a another one. I'm brain dead, so quite starstruck being on here, but it's like, this is my favorite people. So it's like, you know, faiths are still represented today. So we want to try and introduce that in a way where, you know, a shrine would be in a house. If we were in a scene, we would have a shrine in the background, stuff like that, or it's important to the scene, then there's a shrine there. But, you know, it's not to say that we aren't thinking about looking at how we're going to go, well, how do we put mythical stuff like the unseen people and stuff like that into it? And how do we introduce, like, you know, a biker gang of centaurs and stuff? And do we see that as a representation of a bike, or do we see them as centaurs? You know, it's how we visualize it. And if I was trying to
picture a centaur riding a motorcycle, I was like, that would be very difficult.
Well, I would, yeah. But it's like, I'm sort of thinking like that's the representation that a normal human being would see would be a guy on a motorbike, and you know, and it's like those sort of elements. How do we introduce that without giving too much clever stuff away of how we've come around it? I've got to be really careful about what we say.
It's the thing about it is it's still really early. And Brian has an enormous number of ideas and the experience to know what's going to work in TV and what's not, but not necessarily, you know, I mean, it's when these guys do a pitch, they have to pitch it to, you know, a streaming company, a streaming service, or, you know, a media company or whatever, to get picked up and to actually make the show. And they're going to have some thoughts as well.
Right.
Normally, right. Like so even things that Brian may love right now, he'll have to take a look at that if you know, hey, we could make this deal, but I've got to change this guy's name. Yeah. But you know, that's kind of the tough balance.
Yeah, and they're the sort of things where it is because they do come on board and they do say to you, okay, look, in order for us to work on our platform, we need to change this and this, or we need you to focus more on pushing this sort of stuff. But for me, story and narrative, story part is the most important thing of it. Okay, and that's important to everything that we introduce into the show is either because it's part of the story, and we don't want to just throw things in there to, you know, to just go, hey, look at us, something clever, we've done this and we put that in there. It's got to be part of the story, so it's got to it's got to flow with it. And we just, so any sort of things where we're having discussions about, broadcasting and distribution and stuff, we fight our battles where we can.
Yep.
And, and we turn around and say, well, look, we need this because it's integral.
Right.
Or we need this. It's important to the development of the series or the story, which is always important. And it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because obviously I want everything I can put in there.
Right.
And that's the hard part. I think being a fan of it, you want to do it justice, but also being a fan of it, you want to put everything you can in there because you want to please so many people that really love the game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the hard part though. You don't want to have the first episode where you're like, here are 20 scions of 20 different pantheons. Please remember all of them.
Well, that's the hard part, isn't it? Because you want to go. You've got to try and explain this to people that have never read Scion before, never played Scion before, and it's you. As a fan, you want people to make a show that's dedicated to you, that you'll understand, but also you want to be able to turn around to your best friend that's never played Scion or never watched it. Go, hey, come and watch this series with me.
Right, exactly.
You're going to enjoy this, because it's got all the things that you like.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that it's a way to bring more people to the game. And that means more people around my dinner table playing games, instead of the usual 5 people that I've played with for the last 8 years. But I mean,
Brian, thanks for sitting in with us. It's been great as always to chat with you, and this is basically how Brian and my meetings go.
you just get excited at each other for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just generally me going, oh, what about this? And what about that?
So the one thing that I want to say, because I know that Scion fans are very passionate about this, is I know that the main thing is that we do want to keep the myths respected. That's the biggest 2E thing that I think has we've talked about. Where it's not going to be as irreverent as Scion First Edition was.
There's a reason we changed from Scion First Edition, and that was a specific one. It was a different tone that was being presented for the world in the game, and we don't really want to get back to the bad puns and things like that.
Exactly. So that's just to allay any worries about that.
As much as I love bad puns.
Now we are wrapping up, but we do have an Assassins game on Vorpal Tales pretty much now, I think, or soon. And then also the Scion All Myths Are True panel, which has some of our biggest experts and Scion folks, is at 1:30 right here. So if you are a Scion fan and you want to hear more about Scion and how they put myths together and how they decide what to keep and what to cut, they will all be here. Well, not all of us. That would be like a 40-person panel, but there'll be a few people here at 1:30 to talk about that from a diverse array of backgrounds.
Indeed.
Very good. Okay. Good. Well, I think we do need to clear out of here then, so that so those folks can come in. So, thanks everybody, and thank you for sitting in and I hope enjoying our What's Up with the Onyx Path panel. If you have more questions, things like that, of course, we are all over social media, and we have a very active Discord community. So if you have not yet check that out, it's a great place to go and just get questions asked, get systems questions asked, and just go crazy, go nuts, and talk all about the things that you love there, because everybody else is the same way.
We do actually have a Scion TV channel in our Discord, so if you'd like to talk about it,
if you want to speculate there, feel free.
Great place for it.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody. See you in the rest of the con.
See you later.